From each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are. From memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried. And with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight. Reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey, and I'm wearing a blazer because we've made it to the 100th episode. And if you remember, for our 50th episode, I wore a fake blazer. So what better time than wear a real blazer? Because like the Disney company that recently celebrated 100 years, we have celebrated 100 deep dives. And as you see, our background might be a little bit different because we thought to ourselves, why do we have a fake background when our whole entire house is a real Disney background? So as you see here, we have this nice, fun, interactive, welcome to my basement background of the Disney company here. But you are back with the Deep Dive in the Magic podcast with episode number 100. I know we had a couple bonus episodes and a starting episode, but our 100th deep dive. I didn't do too many like special facts and stuff because we're also really close to our 1 year, so I'll do it all for that. But we are back with our 100th. That's more videos than the Disney Cup. Like all these decades, all this time, we made it to 100, and we're celebrating not with a fancy cupcake, not with a different castle, but with a new background. But our 100th deep dive is also the beginning of the year 1971.
Yep.
So in the beginning of the year 1971, March 17th to be exact, 1971, a 100th Disney feature-length film. It is a film called The Barefoot Executive. Are they going to start off the hundreds on a bang or on a blah? Let's find out. So as we said, The Barefoot Executive from March 17th, 1971 is the 100th Disney Deep Dive. This film is also sometimes referred to as the Rating Game. It is a live-action comedy. And would you like to start us off for our 100th Deep Dive with a synopsis?
A mailroom clerk and a chimp team up to pick hit TV shows.
So when you heard the term Barefoot Executive, you think it could be another movie about a monkey?
I honestly don't think I knew what to expect.
So it's about another film with what's his face in it?
Sorry, buddy, no cats in
Kurt
this
Russell, and as a chimp in it. There's for those watching along, you can now see the film up there in our background. But it's it's film about a chimp. But we do start off and we see that we are at Moonrise Night School, and there's a hip intro song playing. We
one.
see kids on motorcycles, including Kurt Russell's character. He's driving very erratically. He goes past a car and he waves into a car window where he sees Raffles the chimp. It says introducing Raffles the chimp, who's sitting in the backseat of a car. He arrives at a television station. That's where he works. So clearly he was taking night school, and he's going to the television station. We also learned that his name is Steve. Anything you want to jump in on what's going on here and the premise that we got going on?
Well, we've got another Steve.
It's true. We have another Kurt Russell. We have another chimp. We have another.
Yeah, this is not as cool as the Steve from Stranger Things, but
I mean, That's from the 80s, and this is the 70s, and that's not Disney. So, and Steve's probably the worst character in that TV show. So,
He is not. He comes back and saves himself.
spoilers.
In my opinion, I think the sister's one of the worst characters.
The sister?
I think she's one of the worst.
Deep dive in the metropod@gmail.com to tell KJ why she's wrong. To be fair, she's not my favorite. The girl, what the heck is her name? The one that played by like Maya Hawke.
Oh yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so want to talk about what's going on here? Night school movies, they're or the TV
Yeah.
station, they're like waiting for him.
So the female main character is
Jen.
at the studio. Her name's Jen, and she is waiting on Steve to get there. And she's talking to another guy, and I don't know what his name
Roger.
is.
The nephew of
Roger.
the nephew of the executive, Mr. Wilbanks.
Yeah. So, and he makes some kind of comment because he doesn't go to Stanford and he's going over here to this night school because obviously he doesn't have any money. So we find out that our character Steve is pretty much working really hard for this job because he doesn't have any money. He's trying to make some money, trying to progress his career. And the other guy kind of just seems like he's had everything handed to him.
Do you think that Steve would have made it to 100 episodes?
No, I think he would have given up.
Yeah.
Unless Raffles was there.
Raffles. So they finish filming the show. That appears to that it wasn't very good. It like they get an international phone call from Mr. Wilbanks, who is the executive. He's talking about how the show is in trouble. Sponsors are not pleased. The ratings will be out in the morning. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day, on the way to work, the executive guy, he's getting his mail. He runs over the mail boy's bicycle. They end up having to drive their fancy car around to deliver the newspapers for the kid, so he could win his trip to Catalina. Anything on that?
The driver runs over the bike
Mm-hmm.
and causes a bunch of mayhem.
So Steve has been like trying to like talk about different show ideas. He's been like giving the executive notes about different shows, but they keep laughing him off. He's just a kid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh well, this person was this young when they did this. This person was this young when they did this. King Tut was only a child, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And his pitch for the show. Do you remember what his pitch for the show was?
No.
It was Abe Lincoln's Doctor's Dog,
Yeah.
because we all know that good ratings come from Abe Lincoln, from doctor shows, and from dog shows.
Dogs.
So Abe Lincoln's Doctor's Dog. I probably would have enjoyed that show more than this movie, but that's a spoiler for the rest of this film. So the ratings come in and they are terrible.
Yep.
Anything about this so far?
Nope.
All right. So
I'm not impressed.
Steve goes to his girlfriend Jen's house after the ratings come out, and we learn that the old couple that I don't know if it was Jen's grandparents or somebody who just lives by them. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
It has never been announced. I have no idea.
I thought they were their neighbors.
Okay,
But I don't 100% know if that's accurate, but it kind of gave the vibes that they were neighbors.
So either way, they had to go to San Francisco, so they left Jen in charge of their chimp.
Raffles.
Because that's what people do. They leave their next door neighbors in charge of their monkeys.
But who has a chimp? Like as a pet?
I don't know.
Or as part of their family?
The dude from Friends.
Moon Pilot? That wasn't a chimp, though. He didn't have a chimp. He had some kind of monkey. Marcel.
Our second not Disney reference of the day so far.
You're welcome.
Because we've made it to 100 episodes and we can do what we want. So Steve is just trying to relax after a day. He's trying to watch TV, but the chimp keeps fighting over the TV channels and keeps changing the station.
Yeah.
So Jen is on the side of the chimp, and they have to watch what the chimp wants to watch.
Mhm.
Right? We're
Yep.
we're all up to date there.
Mhm.
Um, Steve says all the pets in the world, and you got to end up with a chimp that likes bad TV.
Yep.
But the next morning, they wake up to learn the ratings come out that the show that the chimp was watching won the highest rating award of the night before. Um, so they go about their day. They're taking the chimp out. The chimp even is like changing channels in the store, like in like the heck is it? It's like they're just like in like a old fashioned Walmart store. I don't even know. Like a big box store, and he's just like changing the channel on the TV.
Mhm.
Um, Steve again is trying to get his shows pitched, and he's like, I wonder if the chimp knows really how to pick the top TV shows. So he's like trying to like quiz them. He's like studying all like watching all these shows, studying with the chimp, and it ends up that our chimp friend picks all of the top TV shows, all of the ratings.
Mhm.
Um, so Steve goes and gets flowers for Jen, but he gets pulled over for reckless motorcycling. Um, we see that the chimp goes out for a walk with Roger, and Steve isn't happy. We see that the chimp is watching TV in store windows. The chimp ends up breaking the TV in the store window, and he ends up getting arrested. Um, Anything on that?
Mhm.
Um, the chimp is getting fingerprinted, but he ends up breaking another television because he's changing the channel inside of the police station. Like this dude is all about the channel.
Yeah,
Some will
some
say
sports
he's a
channel.
channel surfer. Um, so Steve is like sneaking this chimp into like the TV station. He's trying to convince Mr. Wilbanks. Um, the chimp keeps doing its thing. More program ratings. He types up a letter to Mr. Crampton, who's like the executive. Um, and so what a bunch at this point I deleted half my notes. I don't know what happened the other day. I was taking my notes and then I just deleted them halfway
He
through.
fell asleep.
I might have because this was a film.
There definitely wasn't a might have.
I might have.
You fell asleep, and I think you deleted it.
I did. I deleted half my notes here. Um, so whatever. A bunch of. I mean, I watched the whole thing. I didn't like, you know,
Yeah, okay.
sleep forever. But this is our 100th episode. All right. Well, then you know what? I'll turn it over to you. So he's trying to get the ratings. He's trying to convince this dude. Um,
Yeah.
Will Banks is in trouble by Mr. Crampton about the ratings.
Yeah. So basically, what Steve's trying to do is show them that he knows which ones are going to have the best ratings.
Mhm.
So he's like, well, I think I need to take these home and watch them. And they're like, no, no, no. None of the recordings leave the studio. Everything stays here. So then he has to like sneak the chimp in. So Raffles has got to come in. Um, he tries sneaking him into the back of the viewing room and sitting behind his boss. But when he does this, and obviously they go to a different, like, I don't know, show or whatever, and the chimp doesn't like it. He's making noises back there, and they're like, "What's going on back there?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, I have asthma, and it's just it's acting up. Let me go grab my inhaler. I have it in the back room." So he takes Raffles to the back where they basically have like the projector screen like you're at the movies. And Raffles is like watching it through the window there. And Steve kind of watches his reaction to see like
Mhm.
how he's reacting to it. But oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Nope, nope. Don't think I'm gonna like this one. Nope. This one's a hit. Yeah. And that's how he basically still uses raffles to pick out the shows he wants.
Yeah. So he's trying to convince them to play this show. Did you write down the title of the show? It was like a piratey type thing.
I don't think I wrote down the title of the
Um,
shows.
Not Savage Sam, but something like that. Um, and they are not for it. So
No.
he goes in, he ends up like changing it his own,
Mhm.
um, which mortifies the executives, but it ends up working. The changing of the shows worked, and it is the top show of the week.
Mhm.
But because of this, Steve gets fired.
Mhm.
But also because of this, they hire Steve back because he just got up the top show of the week. They make Stephen Post is his name. He's the new program director.
Mhm.
He continues to use the chimp, um, the channel UBC, the UBC channel,
Mhm.
stands for You Brought Chimp. Just kidding. The UBC channel becomes the top rating channel, and they start winning a bunch of awards.
It actually stands for United Broadcasting Corporation.
I mean, that makes sense.
And the logo for this network was actually used from elements of the three logos of major American network broadcasting company,
So I had like a peacock and stuff.
American Broadcasting Company, and CBS.
Mm.
So yeah, they kind of like
Oh,
built
CBS is like the national broadcast company, NBC. Oh, but
Yeah.
Steve won't even tell his trick to Jen. He's like trying to tell it to Jen. He's like, well, if somebody had somebody else do their work for him, does that make him not a genius?
definitely.
But it was more like, like if like soldier fights in battle for somebody else, like he's
Yeah.
well, either way, Steve ends up winning TV's Man of the Year award
hmm
for turning this station around. Wins a nice car, but he's mistakenly referred to as the president of the TV station,
Yeah.
which upsets the real president of the
And
TV
he's the
station.
vice president.
Yep. So he upsets the real president of the
So
company.
he has basically moved his way up from like mail clerk to vice
Kind of like
president
the
of this company.
lovely theatrical masterpiece, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. That's why I'm wearing the suit coat right now.
Okay.
Um, so the executives are now like trying to figure out how Steve is doing it. Like the homeboy is sabotaging their jobs.
Mhm.
So they are starting to snoop. So they get Roger to try to figure this out. Roger breaks into the room, but the chimp hides. But then the chimp catches Roger, causing him to flee.
Mhm.
Roger starts to describe what had happened, and he says like, I don't know, there was bananas everywhere, and I got touched by a hairy arm.
It grabbed me.
Yep. Which makes Jen begin to realize what is happening. Because remember, it's Jen's chimp.
Jen is on to him.
So then Jen asks Steve, and Steve does admit the whole entire thing. Jen,
Yeah.
he's like, I was doing this because I want to marry you, and he sweet talks her and such.
Course.
More people are starting to suspect the chimp because Jen doesn't tell anybody. More people are starting to suspect the chimp. They get like a telescope and they're spying from a different window, and they spot the chimp while spying. Um, the chimp, they're like, oh, it could just be happenstance, but then the commercial comes and the chimp gets up and gets a beer out of the fridge. And they're like, oh my gosh, the chimp was actually watching the television show.
Mhm.
It must be that. So they decide that they're going to scale the window to try to steal the chimp, but they almost fall at the cough. So go ahead and talk about the scaling of the window scene.
So I don't know why in Disney movies or any TV shows they always have to have people like in these tall buildings just out here on the ledge of the building. Like when has this ever been a good idea? It's never been a good idea. So you've got these two guys on the side of the building.
The executive and his chauffeur.
Yeah. Um, scaling the side of the ledge of the building. Um, trying to get this chimp out. Um, somehow they end up getting the window open. The chimp climbs down, and then Steve finds him and he's like, oh, how did you get down here? So he takes him back up while these guys are still on the
They keep
ledge.
like almost falling again, like saved by their
Yeah.
ties, and
Yeah, and then Steve puts him in a different room and shuts the window and locks the window back. And then the guys find him again and they're like, "Hey, surely you can unlock the window, like unlock the window." And Raffles walks over to the window and he shuts the blinds on them.
Hmm.
And then at this point, somebody has noticed them from the streets and they think these people are like trying to end it all and they're going to jump. And it starts making the news. The police are called.
The
The
priest.
firemen's come
Yeah.
and they're basically holding like that trampoline scene that I don't know,
Yeah.
back into Dumbo.
The
You're gonna
yeah,
jump.
the police is like trying to talk him down off the ledge.
Yeah, and one of them accidentally trips and falls.
Well, before that, the best part is that the news station to break the news story is UBC. So like the president of the company is seeing his executive up on the thing.
Oh yeah, and he's not happy.
No.
He's not happy at all. Um, the guy falls, lands on the trampoline thing. They put him on a stretcher and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you would try to end it all." And he's like, "I wasn't. I fell." Like
A chimp.
he's trying to explain things, and at this point, they just think he's crazy because he's
Yeah.
talking about chimp and da da da. And then the other guy, they get him down.
First off, we missed that part. He was like wheezing and
Oh yeah,
hiccuping because he was so nervous. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. And then he explained that they weren't trying to jump; they were trying to get their chimp. And at this point, we all know there's a chimp involved.
So, this is where I wrote, and I quote,
Where did all my notes go?
"This movie has gone completely off the rails." Um, People are getting interviewed about the chauffeur ends up admitting about the chimp, like you said.
Mhm.
So it makes the news, and it gets like admitted that this chimp is the one that's picking the TV shows.
Mhm.
So they're like interviewing all like random people on the street, and they're like, "I don't care, you guys are pulling off my favorite TV shows anyway." Um, Movie's completely off the rails. All of the television executives from all the different stations they meet to discuss. It's a bunch of famous Disney people all in the same room, and they're discussing what to do about this chimp. And they must destroy the chimp. They must. Like they have to save their jobs. So they decide that they are going to buy the chimp and return it to the jungle. They're going to buy this chimp and they're going to get it far away.
And I can't remember if Jen was in these meetings, but
Jen was in the meeting.
she basically
does
knows
not
what they're
like,
trying to
and
do.
she does not like the idea. She
Yeah.
is not a fan of the idea. But then Steve's like, you don't have to worry about me. I can't be bought. Um, um,
But guess who is bald?
so they um they offer him $500,000, and he is mesmerized by this amount, but he refuses. He can't accept the 500,000. So like, fine, we'll offer you $1 million, and
Mhm.
he accepts. He shockingly accepts. $1 million, KJ. What would you sell off to a foreign jungle for $1 million?
I couldn't just because in my mind he's been in captivity for so long, he's probably not going to make it. And I had to take a class in college, and chimpanzees are like one of the other mammals that are like some of the most aggressive mammals.
Mm.
They're the only other mammals other than humans that will like basically maim and injure their other species without a care and just leave them. So I don't think I could do it. Because he seems like a lovable character and he wears the cutest outfits.
But since we're talking about movies that aren't Disney, this will be our third reference of the day. You know how much Doctor Evil did for $1 million in Austin Powers? But whatever. So this dude accepts.
Yeah.
Um, Jennifer can't believe him, and he's like, "Well, now we can get married." And she's like, "Nope, I'm calling it off. It was my chimp pet."
I don't think I like you so much
So,
anymore.
so she calls it all off.
Yeah.
We then cut to we see the executives go by, and they have a chained up chimp. Steve tries to run up to the airplane to call it all off and reconsider, but they will not change their minds. We then see that there is an airplane that takes off for the jungle. The executives from UBC are on the airplane because they want to make sure that this actually happens. Um, so the airplane takes off. Steve is very bummed out by his mistake and losing his girl and losing his chimp and losing everything.
Mhm.
We learn that this jungle has never been explored before. It's a very remote jungle. Um, and they're trying to like everybody has it's like a military airplane and everybody has like parachutes on and including the chimp and they're like trying to throw the chimp out the window out the hatchway to get him out but he's like fighting it and fighting it and fighting it but before they can throw him out he ends up pulling a lever which opens up the back of the airplane and causes all the TV executives to go flying out of the airplane and they are parachuted into the jungle. Like I mentioned, this movie has gone completely off the rails. I have no idea what's going on. So all these executives now are now parachuting, except for the chauffeur guy, because he was left behind. The
Always,
the plane
always left behind.
the plane returns with the chimp
Mhm.
and none of the executives.
Yeah.
They call Steve about his second chance. And then it cuts to Steve with the chimp because he admits that the TV station needed the money because they had to fund the research to go find the executives. And then before I end it, anything else about anything I might have missed?
Do you think Steve got to keep the money?
No, he gave it back.
Did he give it back?
Yeah, because they needed the money to fund the research to go find the executives. He traded the $1 million for the chimp back.
Well, I thought he just got the chimp back because the chimp came back.
No.
I missed that part.
Nope. So he gave.
Okay.
Oh, who was sleeping now?
I wasn't sleeping. I
So
was
they
trying to keep my attention.
So he gave the money back because they needed the money to fund the research for the executives. Um, Steve resigns from his position
Hmm.
and he takes the chimp and he takes his now married wife Jen and they get on his motorcycle and they drive off.
Hmm.
Kind of like in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when they walk around the way with the chimp. That's my fourth reference to a non-Disney movie. But that was a weird movie, but that was the end.
Well, I mean, if we're on a roll here, the couple really reminded me of Lily and Marshall from How I Met Your Mother.
No, they wish. Um, Marshall was a very successful attorney. This dude could even pick his own ratings of his own TV stations.
So,
And Lily is supportive no matter what. And this girl was not supportive no matter what. But either way, this movie's gone completely off the rails. But you know what? It was our 100th deep dive. We have this new awesome background that's real. It's not fake, it's real.
the other one wasn't fake either. It was real.
I don't know.
It was just a background.
It's true. Um, yes, for everybody watching, we were not actually next to the castle in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
For those that might have thought
Imagine we had to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning every day to film that.
yes, we were up there on the castle on the bottom level. Um, that backdrop, to pull the curtain back a little bit, had this weird person on it that Andy from Andy Has a Band randomly found one time that we didn't notice for a long time, but that's neither here nor there. Speaking of Andy Has a Band, he has been in your lovely ears for the last 100 episodes. So thank you, Andy from Andy Has a Band, for our
Yes,
lovely
thank you.
theme song. But either way, that was that film. Before we dive into our 100th deep dive list upon a star, do you have any facts about this film?
I do. I do have some facts. So, Raffles the chimp insisted on watching the show Mother Carries Chickens. That was the very first show that, like,
They talk about it in the film.
yes, that
Yeah.
was irritating Steve.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to watch. And that ended up being the top rated show. However, Mary Carries Chickens is a 1911 novel by Kate Douglas Wiggin, and that film was obviously turned into a movie. 1938, Mother Carries Chickens. However, Interestingly enough, I guess Walt Disney Productions made their own version of this story, Summer Magic with Haley Mills, 1963.
That was a good
Um,
film.
yeah, and then,
Much better than Pollyanna.
however, that is not the movie that they were watching
Mm-mm.
when they were watching this, supposedly. The movie that was actually playing during the scene when it was supposed to be Mother Carey's Chickens was The Three Lives of Thomasina,
That was a less great movie.
which also came out in 1963.
Mhm.
So I don't know why they wouldn't just put, well, maybe they didn't want to make too many of parallel references, I guess. And there was some goofs if you pay attention, which is very hard during this film. Uh,
But it's gone off the rails.
yes, but if
Like Mickey's
yeah,
Runaway Railway.
exactly. But if it keeps your attention, and you watch for it, maybe you can tell, Steve's hair length, changes
Mine too.
between shots. So yeah,
There you go. That's all I got.
that's all I've got that I thought was interesting. So
Well, watch it. It's the 100th Disney feature length film.
yeah,
It's better than some we've watched.
definitely.
It's not as great as some we watched, but we did it. We watched 100 Disney movies.
Yep.
Do you think in the massive amount of time that you and I have been together that we've watched 100 movies
Yes.
besides this?
Mhm.
Yeah, probably. Um,
We used to go to the movies all the time.
Yo, we gotta start that again, but we started this podcast where we have to
I know, and we have to
watch
go in order,
ton
so
of
it's not like we
movies.
can do like current Disney movies.
People aren't gonna know what current movies is because they're gonna be watching this in 10 years. But either way, speaking of 10 years, we got a long way to go. But we are really thankful for you to hang out with us.
Yep.
Send us your messages at deepdiveinthemagicpod@gmail.com if you watched us from the beginning. Thanks, Mom. But we're really thankful to have you. We're really stoked about our new background and our new everything we got going on. But how about talk to me about a rating on the list?
So, the rating for this film, IMDb gave it a 5.9 out of 10.
Solid.
I gave it a 6 out of 10 just because I like the chimp.
Solid. I don't even like the chimp, and I don't think the chimp was even a good actor in this movie. Anyway,
Oh, he was adorable.
so what is your list upon a star, which we will magically put in right here, because we are retiring our previous list upon a star, because let's be serious, that thing did not make it to 100. But our list upon a star,
Made it to 99 though.
our 100th version of our list upon a star, which we will digitally put in right here going forward. What is yours
So, my list upon a star
through 100 films?
through 100 films, because this did not rate its way onto my list, is 101 Dalmatians, The Parent Trap, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, The Jungle Book, The Aristocats, Lady and the Tramp, That Darn Cat, The Three Caballeros, and Moon
Another
Pilot.
chimp movie. So this also does not make my 100th list upon a star. I would love to hear if it makes anybody's list upon a star. deepdivemagicpod@gmail.com. But mine is 101 Dalmatians, followed by Mary Poppins, followed by our dear friend Peter Pan, followed by our dear friend Alice in Wonderland, followed by Babes in Toyland, followed by our newest friends, the Aristocats, then Pinocchio, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and then followed by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which was the first deep dive
Has
that
been
we
holding
did.
on.
Actually, and the second one was Pinocchio, which is right above it. And then the 10th spot is Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
So that's our list upon a star so far. We're gonna keep diving, and we're gonna keep listing as we're going. Thank you for this. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We have. I know it's at the end of the video, but you can also see it right here. We truly appreciate you hanging out with us for all these hundreds. If this is the first time you've watched us, give us a like, give us a subscribe, tell your friends. Everybody has a soft spot for Disney, and we want to hear about it. deepdivethemagicpod@gmail.com. There's some great movies we watched. We listed them on a list upon a star. There's some rough movies that we watched. That KJ listed on her list upon a star, but I'm just kidding. We really appreciate you all. But our next film, we are going deeper into the year 1971. with our 101st Disney feature length
101.
film. 101.
Not Dalmatians, though.
That's true, not Dalmatians. That was in the 60s, and we also watched the 50s and the 40s and the 30s. But I know we are in 1971, and it is a film that we will talk about then, called Scandalous John. Scandalous John.
Sounds scandalous, doesn't
We
it?
have to figure out a new picture to put right here. But either way, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you to Andy as a band for our theme song for the last 100 episodes. Thank you to Vincent, Faye and Winston for joining us every so often for their lovely appearances
Yeah.
of their four-legged friends. Better than the chimp, but I'll let you sign off. But we'll see you then.
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.